The problem with action cameras is that they've just never looked that good. But the DJI Action 4 has some fantastic upgrades in it that I think could change the game for action cameras going forward. I'm going to show you what they are. That's if I don't fall off my one wheel trying to get up this thing. So let's have a look, shall we? I thought it'd be a good idea to film this talking heads segment exclusively on the Osmo Action 4 to see what it looks like in this kind of environment. And I think it's doing a great job considering this is what the old one looked like. The difference is night and day, and it just shows you how much better the dynamic range is on the Action 4. Don't forget, this is a tiny little sensor of an action camera compared to a mirrorless camera or full frame sensor. I'm going to be talking about what's new in this camera, and if you do already have the Action 3, is it worth upgrading to the Action 4, or should you just hang on to what you've already got? But I'm going to save that to the end. I'm going to show you what this camera looks like, show you what it does. Hopefully it'll help make up your own mind, and then we'll talk about it at the end of the video. How's it going, mate? All right? All right, yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude. You biking today?
Yeah, we're going to rent some bikes. Right, there's only one way to test the stabilisation, so I've dragged Willie Bob to ride bikes with me on his birthday. Happy birthday, William.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else other than bed. Oh, God.
The stabilisation on this thing is absolutely insane. You can see how much I was actually wobbling around, but look how stable it keeps the footage. Look at the edges, it's just super smooth. So if you do a lot of action sports and things like that and you want to capture what's going on, it's just incredible.
Hey up, he's gone through it, old Willie Bob.
The number one thing for me with an action camera, besides stabilisation, is the image quality. Now we must remember that we're talking about action cameras that have very small sensors. If you're used to using full frame mirrorless cameras that look fantastic, then going to an action camera can be a little bit lackluster, shall we say. So we've got to bear that in mind. And the image is never going to match up to a full frame mirrorless camera. But I think this does a great job considering. In the Osmo Action 4, we've got actual 10-bit D-Log color profile. In the Action 3, we had D-Cine-like, which was good, but I tended to sway more towards the normal profile just because it was a bit easier to color grade and it looked great as it was. But with actual D-Log, for those people that want a little bit more flexibility over color grading with their action cameras, we've now got it. Don't get me wrong, it still doesn't look as good as D-Log from a mirrorless camera or a drone, but it's definitely a step up. And that's 10-bit color in all of the filming modes. On some other action cameras that I've used, you can only access 10-bit color in a few of the modes, so it can be quite limited. DJI have also told me that the noise reduction and the sharpness will be improved on the version that ships when you order yours. I have got a test firmware at the moment, so it's going to be a lot better as an upgrade. Okay, ruin that. There's two keys to getting a better image with action cameras. Number one, just avoiding these trees. Oh, there's one. Use manual exposure. And number two, use ND filters. And DJI have got fantastic filters. This is a set of three. You've got an ND8, ND16 and ND32. I'm using ND32 right now. It's a bright sunny day. I should be well exposed. And because the dynamic range is so good on the Action 4, it's doing a really good job of preserving the details in the shadows and the sky. Look at all the detail there. You can see the clouds, nothing's blown out. So this is what the image looks like in manual mode. I'm using ND32. And this is what the image looks like in auto exposure mode. As you can see, I've taken off the ND filter, so the camera is doing all the work for me now. Perfect spot to do a low light test. Up there. Not the best idea I've had. Here we are, look. As you can see, this is how dark it is here. I'm filming on the S5 Mark II at the moment on ISO 640. So these are my regular settings. It's pretty dark in here. I've got these settings on auto exposure. So it's adjusting the exposure automatically using the ISO. The highest ISO is 12,800 and this is what it looks like. So it's not doing a bad job for the looks of it. Interesting to see what the noise levels are like. I'm in a kid's playground at the moment. There's people around and I feel a bit strange. But I think I'm safe. I think it's just a hamster
Hamster. Squirrel.
Very good low light performance, and what I noticed is there's minimal noise. A lot of times when a camera is trying to add brightness, you get a lot of noise and grain in the image, and that's not very nice. But this gets rid of that noise, and you get a nice bright image, and the colours are really good. The only thing is, it's not as sharp anymore. It's a little bit mushy and a little bit soft. But you know, these cameras are made for the outdoors. Most of the time you're going to be filming in daylight. And the auto exposure mode responds really well. Look how fast and smooth it adapts when you're going from a dark area to a brighter area. Expose for outside, flip it around to me, it's nice and smooth. And again, inside to outside. When you think of action cameras, you think of strapping it in unusual places to capture different angles and inaccessible angles if you're using a mirrorless camera or something a bit larger. Don't buy the cheap accessories that you can find on Amazon because they just won't work. They'll flop about, they don't stay tight.
Right, unfortunately what keeps happening is the mounts aren't strong enough. Not having it.
And it could result in you losing the camera that you've just spent a lot of money on. Whereas the DJI ones, they're super sturdy. I tested it on my car, I tested it on the bike, it didn't fall off. My favourite is the biking accessory kit. This chest mount is awesome. It's comfortable and it doesn't move around at all. There's no wobble. Thanks so much DJI for sending me these, and I highly recommend them. I'm not just saying it.
DJI have come out with this bike mount which feels amazing. It's really solid.
We've only got the bikes for now, mate.
3 hours later.
Good to go.
What I'm really impressed with the Action 4 is the sound quality of this thing. I'd be very comfortable vlogging outdoors with this camera alone. Just sounds really clear without doing anything. This is without any presets on, so as you can hear, nice and clear. It might be a little bit windy because I'm going fairly fast on the one wheel, but it sounds great. Don't need to do any processing.
If you're blasting it on a one wheel and it's a bit of a windy day, you're gonna get some wind noise. I'd love to see a cage where they had a little clip, you know, like the little dead cats, the mini dead cats that come with the wireless mics. I would love to see a cage that you can clip these onto, just to get a little bit more clarity on those windy days. I'm being wrong. Hello. Oh. The way to get the best looking shots with slow motion is by using manual exposure mode. Make sure you've got plenty of light. How long have I been recording? So I've been recording for 20 minutes in 4K at the moment. No overheating warnings, absolutely fine. I also did quite a few tests, 4K 120, no overheating whatsoever. Battery life, fantastic. I filmed with it all day yesterday. I didn't turn the camera off for about 3 hours, and I'm fiddling around with the settings, and I still had just under half battery left, and I was able to get some more tests this morning. The menu system and the way you navigate everything is very intuitive. Everything's super easy to find. Any settings that you need to change, you can get to them easily, and the touchscreen works very well. It's responsive, it's quick, and it looks great, just like the other version. What are we saying about this camera? Who's it for? Should you get one? If you've got the 3, should you upgrade? I think if you've got the Action 3 already and you're happy with it and it does everything that it does, perfect, no need to upgrade. However, if you did want a little bit more flexibility in the colours, better dynamic range, overall better image, then there's a link in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.